Good evening, everybody. It's now 6 p.m. Hello. Thank you. So we will be conducting tonight's meeting here in City Council chambers as well as virtually using Zoom. Members of the public may view and watch on Wave Channel 18 and online through the city's YouTube channel. If you would like to participate in live public comment via the Zoom platform, please refer to the agenda for instructions. Pastor Mark Andriotta will be giving the invocation this evening, and Mayor Carl Skint will begin the meeting immediately after.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before I start, if I'm not too out of line, I'd like to say thank you and Councilman Joyner for your service for these past few years. We came to Lincoln 9 years ago and got involved with the city, and it's been great seeing you two serve and giving everything you have to the city and caring and loving us all. So we thank you. Let's pray. Dear Lord, we remember the Apostle Paul writing to the Christians in Rome and his teachings that those in authority are first and foremost your servants, that honoring you and doing your will is their highest purpose, and that any portion of power they enjoy is given by you and cannot be taken away and can be taken away. And so we pray that you would be glorified tonight through the decisions of the City Council. We pray that we would have the eyes to see how our lives are all connected and how our common good is upheld when we listen and respond to the most vulnerable among us. We pray that your kingdom would come in Lincoln as it is in heaven through the power of working in each of your servants. May your truth be revealed. May your light shine brighter. May the voices of those silenced be heard loud and clear. Defend their cause, O Lord, through this governing body tonight. We pray for wisdom, for strength, for courage to do what is right and good for all citizens. May we put the interests of others above our own. May we act with love for the common good. May we be good neighbors, recognizing your image in every person here. We thank you again, Lord, for this council, our mayor, our city staff, those that are outgoing and those that are incoming, our first responders, and for all those who may work to make this a place we call home, this wonderful city of Lincoln. Amen.
Welcome to the City of Lincoln regular meeting of the City Council, Lincoln Redevelopment Agent's successor agency, the Lincoln Public Finance Authority, for December 10th, 2024. I call this meeting to order. Would the clerk please say the roll?
Thank you. Yes. Councilmember Andriotta. Here. Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Joyner.
Here.
And Mayor Carl Skint.
Present. Report from closed session. We had none. Pledge of Allegiance. Would the incoming mayor please lead us in the pledge?
Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we go to the next item on the agenda, I'm going to exercise one of the very, very few powers that the mayor has, other than being a city council person, in that the mayor can, without asking for consensus or asking or telling the city manager, he can adjust the menu. There is an item on the agenda, item 4, that I felt was more appropriate that it be put in this part of the meeting so that it's a recognition of our city clerk. It's more applicable for the people that have served with her for a long time. And in our 2 cases, we've served with her for over half her career, and the other cases for years. So rather than have the new people do it, they can do it for Hope. I am moving item 9 to this position currently on the agenda, and I will go ahead with it. It's a proclamation of the City Council of the City of Lincoln recognizing Gwendolyn Scanlon for her 21 years of service to the City of Lincoln and her retirement. Whereas Gwendolyn Scanlon has faithfully and diligently served the City of Lincoln for 21 years, demonstrating unwavering dedication, integrity, and excellence. And whereas Gwen Scanlon began her professional career in 2003, serving in the Public Works Department as an administrative office assistant aide. And whereas when quickly promoted over a span of the next 3 years, serving in both Community Development Department, Public Works Department, and as office assistant too. Office supervisor, acting senior administrative analyst, and subsequently a senior administrative analyst on July 1st, 2013. And whereas Gwen's final promotion was in February 23, 2015, where she was appointed city clerk and has faithfully served the city in this capacity for more than 9 years. And whereas Gwen has also served the community by many contributions made to the Leadership Lincoln program beginning in 2017 to the present, currently serving as a steering committee member. And whereas during her tenure, Gwen has exemplified professionalism, a commitment to transparency, ensuring that the records of the city were accurately maintained, meetings were conducted with efficiency, and all citizens had access to the workings of our local government. And whereas Gwen has been an invaluable source and trusted advisor to the City Council, city staff, and the residents of Lincoln, fostering a spirit of collaboration and community with her commitment to excellence and exemplary service, earning the admiration and respect of peers and elected officials. With her most noticeable accomplishments during her tenure, earning the designations of Certified Municipal Clerk and Master Municipal City Clerk. And whereas Gwen is also to be commended for her educational accolades as she holds a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in business administration. Whereas Gwen will be greatly missed as she embarks on a well-deserved retirement, which will allow her to enjoy spending time with family, traveling, and tasting all of the finest food that Oregon has to offer. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed that the City of Lincoln does hereby honor and extend heartfelt congratulations and best wishes to Gwendolyn Scanlon for a fulfilling and joyous retirement with the deepest gratitude for her 21 years of service and her remarkable legacy. I would like a motion.
I will move to hopefully approve that unanimously.
I second.
I have a motion and a second.
Councilmember Joyner,
Yes.
Councilmember Andriotta,
Yes.
Councilmember Brown, and Mayor Carl Skind.
After that, I can't say nothing. Anyway, we have the proclamation. I'd like to have a picture taken. Everybody got that?
Mayor, can I make a quick comment about Gwen, just real quick, and we'll move on? The proclamation says it all, but just personally, I actually had a relationship with Gwen a few years before I actually got elected, and I think we met shortly after you came into this position. And Gwen has been a friend. Gwen has been a guide, and I appreciate you. Seriously, Paul? Oh, true, true. Mm.
You and Pat, wow, that just changed. You and Pat did so much to help me get up to speed and informed, both on the planning commission and eventually on the council. And quite frankly, to keep not just council members straight, but I think the overall staff as well, right up to a few months ago when I was insisting that something's always been done a certain way, and you're telling me what the ordinance actually reads as. So you have done so much for this community and for this city, and you'll be forever remembered for that. Good luck in your retirement. You're going to be close to your daughter. You're going to be in an entirely new part of the world, and I know you want to travel, so get out and do that as much as you can. Thank you for all you've done.
I only wanted to add, and then you can clap. Coming into the council, and I'm new, obviously, still, but Gwen has an uncanny ability to put people at ease. And, I was nervous and scared, and she just was there, reassuring me, helping me with questions, and can't say enough. Everybody else has, but that was my personal interaction. Thanks, Gwen.
Congratulations.
Besides reading all those words, what was left off of this is that there have been periods of time, the last 12, 16 years, that she has run the city because we've gone through so many city managers that the only knowledge and legacy in the office was Gwen. She stepped up unobtrusively and controlled us all, told us what to do, and we did it. Just can't. Again, our first working relationship was when I was on the planning commission. That was 12 years ago. Thank you for all.
Thank you. And now turnabout is fair play because the next item is to recognize you two leaving the council.
Trying to take control again, right?
Yes.
Unless we wanted to turn it over to staff to be able to say a few words.
I'm
about
sorry.
Gwen.
It's the certification of
Certified
the
election
election.
first,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
And you guys, yeah.
Yeah. The next and my last item to go over is the item number 5, certify the election. When?
Yes, Mayor. So on November 5th, 2024, we had a municipal election here in the city of Lincoln, and we elected 3 new council members for districts 3, 4, and 5, as well as a new city treasurer So with that, unless there's any questions, I'd ask the current city council to act on certifying that election.
I move approval of certifying the election, November 5th, 2024.
Second.
Thank you. Councilmember Andriotta,
Yes.
Councilmember Joyner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brown.
Yes.
And Mayor Carl Skint.
Yeah.
And in that moment, Ben, you are no longer a newbie, you're a veteran.
Who's
Mayor.
doing
What
this?
to do, Mayor?
You still have to get through one more item,
Yeah.
item
Or-
6.
Oh.
Don't get to clock out early.
Mhm.
Okay, item number 6, recognition of outgoing council members. There is nobody responsible for it, so I,
Well, we're all responsible. So we have a couple of things that we got for Councilmember Joyner and Mayor Carl Skint that we'd like to present you on behalf of the council and staff. I'm going to say just a couple quick things, and I suspect there are probably some folks both on the council and out here in the audience that may want to say a few things. I'm going to miss both of you. I'm terrible at this kind of thing. I'm overly emotional. We work together day in and day out on all kinds of issues through wars and peace times. And what I can say about both of you that I'm going to miss is your institutional knowledge of this organization and the fact that every time that it felt like we were losing balance or I wasn't sure we were going to make it out of whatever the matter of the day was, all of the council, but in particular you two, were always the calming voices and helping to refocus staff on what we're here to do. And that will be missed. You will be missed. So with that, we have a couple of gifts for you. And I'm going to pick up the
There
mic
you
with
go.
me. So everybody probably knows that Paul's super passionate about our airport and about aviation in general. And so we have given a plaque which thanks him for his service and details all of his different 4 elected terms and his 4 times as mayor, and is complete with an airplane on the front.
That's awesome.
And in addition, a few years ago, then Mayor Selhigh, who's here, oh, there she is, she's here tonight, had a mayoral jacket, or was that you
No,
that started?
I made them.
Holly
first,
started
yes.
that, and everybody thought they were super neato, and so we
You guys
had them
needed one.
recreated with all of your terms as mayor and the logo, which you had some hand in, I understand. So, and we think it'll fit. If it doesn't, let us know, and we'll get it taken care of. And while you're doing that, I will share that the mayor's plaque is amusing because when Dan got here, he was not actually a big fan of our airport. I think he was interested in seeing it sold or closed or, you know, have a landfill. But over time, he has changed, and he is actually on the airport commission. Him and Paul both work super hard on a lot of the projects that are now currently in process out there. And I think he's changed how he feels about the airport. So we thought it'd be super funny to give him the same plaque that also has an airplane. I know you'll put it right above your bed. And a jacket as well. So to the extent that you're going to feel cool walking around Lincoln with a mayoral jacket on, have it. And then I'm going to probably kick it over to your colleagues for comments that they'd like to make. And then I've been asked at least by 1 or 2 people that are in the audience to make comments before we're done.
It would be highly appropriate for public to be able to make
Absolutely.
comments here. Okay, I'm going to try to do this without crying again. So both of you, I mean, you're individual, we have individual relationships, but just the 2 of you together, well, that looks great, Mayor. That looks awesome. I don't think that the 2 of you really knew what to do with me when I first came on the council. But over time, and notice they're not denying it. So we have learned to work well together. We didn't always agree, but we always push through that and able to work together professionally and do some really great things for this city. And in the process, we became good friends. And I have learned a lot from you. And I treasure our time here together. And I'm really excited for the two of you to be retired, to go travel with your wife, be with your family. You have earned it, but I will miss you. Thank you.
How do you follow that?
It's impossible.
Oh, my gosh. Well, let me just say that just being so, I don't know if you want to call it scared or just nervous coming onto the council. You guys, accepted me and you brought me in and made me feel like I belonged, which was real important to me. And you accepted my silliness and what I do, but I am going to miss the opportunity to serve with each of you. Dan, you're funny. Oh my gosh, you're so funny. People don't understand how funny you are, but I love it. And then the ability that you have, Paul, to just the way you speak in public with your knowledge, amazing to me, and I'm going to miss that. So appreciate it, both of you.
Before we go any further, I forgot, but wait, there's more. So Police Chief Alves had something made for both of you as well. You've supported his departments for a long time. I think, you want to say anything? Just give. Okay.
Oh, that's awesome. Yay.
Thank you, Chief.
And then Mayor, this is typically your role, but
Yeah,
public comment?
let's let the public share their thoughts. Did you have anybody in order or they just want to come?
Well, I know Supervisor Landon is around
Oh, there you
somewhere.
go.
And she had,
Awesome.
oh, there she is. Okay, come on up.
Sorry. My name is Shanti Landon. I'm your representative on the Board of Supervisors. And I just wanted to come tonight to say how thankful and grateful I am for your service to the city. I'm not going to read these out loud so that I don't have to belabor it, but I did just want to read the last sentence of each one. So for Councilman Joyner, your work has left a lasting imprint on the community you have served so faithfully, and your legacy of integrity, collaboration, and compassion will continue to inspire us all. And then for Mayor Dan, your ability to navigate challenges with wisdom and clarity has made a lasting impact on the city of Lincoln, and your leadership will be sorely missed. And then I do have one for Councilmember Lauritsen posthumously, so we'll make sure we get that to his wife as well. But just on a personal note, Dan, it has been such a pleasure to serve on a number of committees with you. And I just appreciate your humor and your wisdom, and you just have such wonderful insights all the time. And so I look forward to continuing to see you around. And Mayor, or I still call you Mayor Joyner, I guess, Councilman Joyner, I just really wish you the best and hope that you get to really enjoy your travels with your wife, and look forward to seeing you around. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Who else would like to share? Is there anybody else that wanted to say a few words? We'll go Tom and then Tony. And then Richard after Tony.
Sorry, Richard. Tom Drury, CEO of the Lincoln Area Chamber of Commerce. I just want to say in the last 5.5 years that I've been here at the chamber, I've really enjoyed working with you both. We've done a lot of cool things together, a lot of cool meetings. Just recently, Dan, with the tree lighting, we had to share that together. The countdown, just all the years of ups and downs and whatever. You've always been real solid, and I want to thank you for the support of the Chamber of Commerce and everything you've done for our city. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Tony Frazier with Frazier Design Group. Really, it's a happy occasion, but sad to see, a long time in Lincoln, knowing Gwen leaving. I was sharing with her a quick story is that I lost some old emails. I said, I still have Gwen. And now I'm not going to have a Gwen. So, but she assured me somebody will be there solid for us. But I really, really enjoyed over 20 years of working with you. It's like the old pillar that we've been working together. So making me sad. I cannot cry. And Paul is, true friendship, working hard on the council, many, many, many council nights. And I know you worked hard for Lincoln, so we're going to be missing you. But I know we'll see you around and your wife, so really it's been a pleasure. And Dan, we really appreciate you. You've been a great friend and supportive of Lincoln. So I know we've been up and down. We have solid staff right now, so you guys leaving, I think, a good Lincoln. And we'll look forward to the future with a great a new member to join the council. So I appreciate you all, and we cannot say enough, especially for Gwen and all of you. Thank you.
So Tony, I want you to know that, Gwen may be moving on, but we're not going to lose hope.
Oh, Ben, that was really
Somebody had to
good.
do it.
You've been working on that one for a while, huh?
No, it just popped in my
When,
mind.
when Penny and I came to Lincoln in 2008, it was late October, the election was coming up. Paul Joyner was running, I think that was your first time. And I said, I don't know the man, but anyone who's got a street named after him has got to be okay. And I have never regretted that decision to vote for you. I voted for you, campaigned for you every single time. Your service to the community has been outstanding. Those of us who have been in Lincoln through the dark ages of the Great Recession, how bad that was on our community. You were there to help the community, to help our city, to help the staff through the worst of the worst of the worst. And we've come out of it. And we've come out of it in no small measure because of the work and the people who were with you at that time just performed miracles. So you ought to be applauded. I know that Lisa is happy to get you back without a doubt. I think everyone knows how much it takes out of a community, how much it takes out of a family life for someone to serve on the council. It's 24/7, it seems like, 365 days a year. And so for the spouses to give up their partner for the community is a huge deal. So the thanks that we owe you and Dan, just inestimable without a doubt. Dan has been one of my very first friends from the time I came here to Lincoln. In 2010, I ran for city council. Dan was my campaign manager. I lost. Thank you, Dan. But we still remain friends after that. The marvelous thing about Dan is not just the wit and wisdom of Dan Carlskin, but the intellect that he brings to it, the analysis, getting to the heart of the problem, and not just identifying the problem, but offering solutions. And that's the mark of a great leader. And so you were there also through the dark days, and we came out of it, again, that's perfect. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we know that Cheryl is glad to have you back because you're there to serve her now. Thank you.
Anybody else? Chapman.
Byron Chapman, 12 Bridges. First of all, I'd like to do this at least for the last time for a couple of you, which is Mr. Mayor, council members, city staff. I always start out with that. I've learned over the years that there's a certain amount of decor and respect that you should have for people who do the awesome jobs that you guys do. Let's just say a little bit lighter note is that with 3 other council members here, at the end of discussing any particular issue, as you ask the public to make comments, I've always noticed for a number of years, and rightfully so, is that I'm usually the last one to raise my hand. And if nobody in the group that's here has a hand to raise, I'm like, wherever I'm sitting, no kidding, I have like all of you looking right at me because I'm usually the guy doing this at the end. So with that, it has been a pleasure to do that in the sense that working with you guys, and we don't always look at the same thing, but there's a lot of things that we do. And with that, I think the city of Lincoln really is going to be at a last in order for you guys to go out and do what you do and enjoy your life. And you guys have done an excellent job. Thank you.
Yes. Ah, Mr. Lyon.
Hi, Bill Lyons, former planning commissioner. I met Paul at a street protest that my wife and I organized. And Paul rapidly educated me that that wasn't the right way to get anything done. So don't do that. But it also got me interested in
You
the
got the
city.
attention of Channel 3 and the rest of the council,
Yeah,
however.
well, you got to work the media.
Yeah.
But it got me interested in how the city worked, and I applied for the planning commission, was on the planning commission for 12 years with Dan. Appreciated all that time with them. One of the things that has struck me through all of the things we've been through, and you know we've been through a lot, even when we disagreed on a particular issue, Paul taught me how to look at the other side and how to appreciate the perspective of somebody else. That has been hugely valuable throughout my life ever since then. Dan and I thought very much alike on the planning commission. We approach problems. He's a former engineer. I'm a data scientist. So we approach problems very, very logically and so forth. And it was a pleasure working with him. But more than anything, I am very happy to say Paul has become a very dear friend, and I'm very happy to want to make sure the world knows that. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks. Okay.
Mayor, we do have somebody online.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Fran, please go ahead.
Not be complete without Fran.
Hi, that's right. Gotta say something. And I didn't realize, Gwen, you were retiring. I missed that on the agenda. I was so caught up with all the items on the consent item. I didn't even notice, or I would have come down there in person because you've always been so good to me. In fact, one time I left something at city council and sure enough, I went down there and she had it. She saved it for me. And so I just want to say, thank you all for all you've done for the city, for all of us. You've always been courteous and kind to me. And Paul, I don't know who's going to speak Fran now.
I got your back, Fran.
And Dad, we've always been friends with you and Cheryl. We'll still be seeing you around town. And I just want to, I think it'd be remiss if I didn't mention, I was really happy to see that Sean Scully came to the celebration of life for Bill Lawrenson and had so much nice things to say about him. And he also answered an email, and that's why I didn't come down here tonight, or I'd be down there. But I'm glad that we get to watch you on Zoom and participate. So thank you for all you do, all of you, and the new people too. Thank you. Thank you, Gwen.
Thanks, Fran.
Thanks, Fran.
Is that it? Okay. All right. Close that public comment.
Dan, I promised you that I hadn't written anything, and in the few hours in between our conversation and now, I scribbled something out, so I hope you don't mind. First of all, I want to say that it has been an absolute honor and privilege to be able to serve the citizens of Lincoln and to have their trust, that I have their best interest at heart through thick and thin. It's meant a great deal to me for these many years. It's been both rewarding and, as Richard pointed out, at times very difficult. Without the love and an unwavering support of my wife and our friends who are in the audience tonight, I would not have been able to devote myself all these years to this work on behalf of all of you. So thank you to them. I am absolutely blessed to have all of you in my life. My first inclination when trying to think of this night and what I might say, Lisa and I talked about it, it was to kind of do a review of everything that's been accomplished over the many years. And there's been a lot, without question. But I think what we decided, Lisa and I most definitely did that review, by the way. She made a point of wanting me to write it all down so that I could remember. And Sean has pointed out that when you do this work, you move through it so swiftly that as soon as you complete something, you're on to the next, and you tend to forget all that's been done by this team working together. And so my sense was that rather than go down that list and talk about those things, I should go back to the beginning and revisit the things that I wanted to accomplish 16 years ago when I first ran and got elected. And there were three things that were on all my materials: public safety, economic stability, and preserving, enhancing, and expanding our historic downtown as the hub that brings our entire community together. So with respect to those issues, public safety. We've created CFDs that have closed the gap of the revenue generated by each new home that comes to Lincoln and the cost of providing services to those homes. So those new residences, those new developments now cover that cost, which is not the case with the older parts of town, and the general fund had to make up the difference. We've renegotiated, and Dan was a big part of this, as was Holly, tax sharing agreements with the county that allowed us to add police officers, dispatchers, and a battalion chief to the public safety department. And we've committed ARPA dollars to add 9 additional firefighters, bringing us up to 3 on a truck, which we did not have for a great many years, and adding a deputy fire chief as well. The city of Lincoln is consistently listed in the top safest cities in all of California, and we should all be very proud of that. With respect to economic stability, Richard points out that we went through some very, very dark times. We were, in fact, when I first came on the council within a few months, having conversations about the real possibility of filing bankruptcy. We chose not to do that. We chose to fight as hard as we could to bring this city back. I checked this morning, the California Policy Center, using 2022, 2023 fiscal year numbers, ranks the city of Lincoln 98th out of 414 California cities for fiscal strength. That puts us in the top 25% of all the cities in California. Those numbers are pulled down a little bit by our OPEB obligations, but the council and staff began working towards resolving those issues this year as well, and I fully suspect that when the next report comes out, those numbers will be even better. So I'm very proud of that. With respect to preserving, enhancing, and expanding our historic downtown, that's the one area that, while we've accomplished good things there, I wish we'd done more. And so what we have done is we have set aside some American Recovery Act dollars, about $500,000 for civic amenities. And it is my hope, if the council's amenable and if Aaron is willing, that in the coming new year, Aaron and I can work together on solidifying a plan to begin to address those and then actually begin to implement that plan. So overall, on those three items that I wanted to accomplish when I first worked on this council, I think we did pretty damn well. In closing, I'd like to say this. Sean and his team and the team he's put together are doing remarkable work for all of us, both for the citizens of Lincoln and for this council. Lincoln is, in my opinion, in the best shape it's been in my lifetime. 68 years, it's pretty darn good. To the continuing council members and to those of you about to be seated, I say this, don't mess it up. Thank you all for trusting me. It's been wonderful. Merry Christmas. You did write notes, didn't you?
I thought about, went through the same process. Discussed the line items, and there are hundreds of them, mostly so deep in the weeds and uninteresting to anybody else. I said, the hell with it. So I'm gonna do something a little bit different. But when I first ran for city council in 2016, I had a set of issues that I ran on, mainly consisting of changing the culture of the council and council staff relationships and the problems they were having, as well as fixing a myriad of administrative and financial issues. As to be expected, when plans meet reality, things change. And there were many more items that required the council's attention, in addition to the things that were on my agenda. So it was that I needed another term to complete my original agenda. I absolutely did not expect to have 2 terms or want 2 terms. And these, and we added, I added significant items as during the first term. That,
You have a slideshow?
no, I was, so I needed another term to,
A screen dropped down at the back of the room, Dan.
Go ahead, keep going.
So, as I was extremely lucky in this term, extremely lucky, to be able to check off the last significant item that I hadn't hit and satisfied. Items that I had committed myself to finishing before my term ended. So, because on December 7th, the annexation of Village 5 was approved unanimously with no resident protests. So last week's have been time for reflection and retrospection, which basically I'm not good at. But I did identify something that I thought I needed to address tonight. First of all, let's set the stage. I am the worst verbal communicator that God ever created. I know this because I don't like to talk. And my wife of 61 years and my daughter of more than 40 or so years have told me that I'm the world's worst verbal communicator, time, again and again and again. So this council and the council before it have said that keeping Lincoln is a paramount priority. That foundational requirement is in the back of my mind every time I look at a piece of legislation that comes before us, or an idea is put forward by staff or by the public. The issue here is what really is the Lincoln that we're trying to retain. Whenever I got a chance to talk to people who've been here for a year or two and ask them why they like Lincoln, what they like about Lincoln, they immediately identify the 4th of July parade, the Christmas parade, and the celebrations in the plaza. Sounds simple to me. All we need able to do to make sure that we can put on 2 parades and a few celebrations a year, and we've got it made, and we've kept Lincoln. No. The essence of Lincoln is not 2 parades and a couple of celebrations. What the people are integrating subconsciously are things like the number of families that are there feeling safe, the fact that families are healthy and robust, the number of volunteers that are there and contributing their time to the community, the cleanliness of the streets, and the cuteness and quaintness of shops. But I am trying to say again, as a horrible verbal communicator, that I keep saying Lincoln is Lincoln. I am really saying that we need to continue on our growth path. Any organism, and city is an organism, that does not continue to grow atrophies. At some point, it dies. There are no new families in the city. There are no jobs. City revenues suffer because of devaluation happening, and everything cascades and runs downhill from there. Our plan for growth is contained in our award-winning 50-year general plan. It is a collaboration, and it's a product of citizens of Lincoln and city government, citizens of Lincoln government. Following the growth plan is in a methodological, responsive way. We provided police and fire departments with staff and technology to make us one of the safest cities in California and the nation. Following this growth plan in a methodological, responsive way, we have provided backpacks, running paths, walking trails for recreational exercise to keep people healthy. In addition, the largest percentage of open space in any development area in the North Cal, providing open skies and clean air. Following this growth path in a methodological, responsive way, we have ensured that we have a new source of volunteers constantly. Following this growth path in a methodological, responsive way, we entice new business owners to revitalize many areas in the city. Growth managed properly is not optional to keep Lincoln. I want to thank the staff and previous staff members that have helped me do the job. in particular Sean, Nita, supporting and providing me with data, because you can't exist without data. Anytime I ask for it. I want to thank my colleagues, past and present, for the clean geology that they have provided. And I have to thank my wife for letting me undertake this adventure and supporting me in everything I do. Thank you. It's been a long everything.
Shall we take one last picture together?
Absolutely.
All right.
So you think you're out of the show?
Oh, no, I'll take it.
You should do.
Right, well, there's a whole bunch of folks that would like to get sworn at.
Okay. Well, do you guys want to take pictures with your family and all your stuff, or are you gonna just ditch? Okay. Okay, okay. Dan, do you want your family to come help you get your stuff?
There you go.
Oh, thank you. You want to hit it one last time?
You want to hit it?
That's right, that's right, that's right. All right, Gwen, you're up. Are you, what's your order? Okay. Okay, great.
Okay. Test, test, test.
It's about to get filled.
Okay, next up is we're going to do the invocation for our incoming folks. So I'm going to start off with our interim city clerk, Hope. So if you'd like to stand, Hope, and raise your right hand, you can come up to the podium here if you'd like. Go ahead and turn it on. Thank you. Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Hope Itherburn,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
and that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
And now Ben's comment earlier of our, yes, we're not going to lose hope makes sense to everybody here. So She's going to join me and we're going to swear in our new council members. So
Congratulations, Hope.
we'll go in order here with District 3. So if Mr. Reedy would like to come to the podium here. I state your name,
I, John Reedy,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Would your family like to come up and get a photo with you?
They are at a soccer tournament.
Okay. Sorry, I forgot. I'm sorry. Okay. So, Mayor, did you want to move over and we'll start rotating everybody? So Ben, you're going to come here. So John, if you'd like to come up here to the dais. Okay, next we are going to have Richard Pearl, District 4 Council Member, come up to the podium. I'd like to raise your right hand.
I'll bring another one.
I state your name. Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of California
the Constitution of the State of California,
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservations
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
on the job I'm about to enter.
Sign your certificate, and if your family wants to come up and get a photo, or, yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations.
So here, we'll take your phone and you can, do you want a photo with him, right? Yeah. Thanks, Aaron. Thank you. And next we have Whitney Eklund from Councilmember District 5. I'd like to raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Whitney Eklund,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations. And- Whitney, do you want to sign your certificate? And then if your family wants to come up, we can take photos. Okay, does anybody want to use, we can use your phone or we can use ours. Okay.
Let me get one real
And then Whitney, you have time if you want to take one with your group of friends.
Yeah.
You can take another picture. That's totally fine. Go. Awesome. Yay.
Next, we have our city treasurer, Greg Kevin. Greg, if you'd like to raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Gregory Kevin,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Sign your certificate. And then if you want your family to come up and next we have our incoming mayor, Holly Andrietta. If you'd like to raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Holly Andriata,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of
the
California
Constitution of the State of California,
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
Constitution of the State of California.
that I take this obligation
I
freely
take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of
or
evasion,
purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Holly, if your family wants to come up and get.
Okay. What a big night. Let me first say, welcome, congratulations. It's been a long haul. The three of you have worked very hard to get here, and some longer than others. And I count it a privilege to have advocated for you and campaigned for you and just been there, to support you, because you are going to be a great asset to the council and the city, which you are already a great asset. So welcome and congratulations. And we are ready to get to work. Okay, we are on item number 8, agenda modifications. We had one earlier with the reading of the proclamation for Gwen. Does anybody else have other agenda modifications? No? Okay. Then we will go to item number 10. This is public comment. This is the time where the public may comment on non-agenda items that's within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. And you have 3 minutes. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to make public comment on anything that's not already on our agenda? No? Okay. Anybody online, Gwen?
We do have a number of folks. Yes, Fran's hand just
Hey.
went up.
All
Hold
right,
on.
Fran, go ahead.
I just thought you'd like to know, when we had the Poets of Lincoln contest winners, we had 46 poetry winners. Only one was from Lincoln, and that was a 10-year-old boy from First Street School. And I thought you'd all like to know that.
Wow, thank you, Fran. That's awesome. We appreciate that.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting.
That is exciting. Thank you. All right, any other public comment? Okay, all right, we'll close public comment and we'll come back up to the council. Number 11, the consent agenda. We do have a request to pull item 11R, which we will discuss shortly. Are there any other agenda items on the consent that anybody would like to pull from the council? Anybody from the public?
Mayor, if I may, I just had one clarification that was pointed out to me by Mr. Chapman actually before the meeting, which I appreciate. It's hard for me to tell. It looks like it's probably a typo, but it could be the way it printed. But on item, the Union Pacific Railroad property purchase item, which I apologize, is item M. There's reference in the staff recommendation to that there's a period instead of a comma, so it should read 8,434 square feet, not 8.434 square feet, which would be very expensive at that rate. 8,434 square feet. So just getting on the record.
Okay, duly noted. Thank you. Okay, if there's nothing, other items being pulled, then I'll take a motion to approve the remainder of the consent with the one item that we're going to pull.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Gwen?
Thank you. Yeah, Councilmember Pearl? Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Eklund?
Yes.
Councilmember Reedy?
Yes.
And Mayor Andriotta.
Yes. All right, so we pulled item 11R. This is the Resolution 2024-273, approving the city council appointments to the City of Lincoln committees, commissions, and boards, and the external joint powers agencies, regional boards, and committees, and receiving local appointment lists as required by California Government Code 54970 and the MADI Act. And so this item here has always been the purview of the mayor to make appointments with the consent and input from the council. And the reason we have this tradition that everybody does is because there are a lot of areas to cover. There's only 5 council members, and we have to make sure everything's covered. And so not everybody gets everything that they want. We do our best throughout the years to be fair, but there's a reason why we have the mayor appointing, because not everybody's going to get, and we have to make a decision. But having said that, council members have questions or comments, and so I'm perfectly happy to entertain those before we move forward with this. So whoever wants to start is fine with me.
I'll start. The list came out about a week or two ago. There's been internal discussions about it, not talking about not exactly what we want, but also what areas we're interested in. The list itself has shifted dramatically over the recent couple of days, even up until today, even up until a few hours ago. It is my thought that these are very important committees. They're both local and also regional, and that we don't seem to have consensus, uniformity among the council people. And all I'm suggesting is that we hold this off till the next council meeting or a special meeting, but certainly no later than the council meeting, which would be in early January. If I understand, there is nothing pressing that would require us to rush through this at this point. So there's no loss. I think we have 3 new people here. We'd still like to have a little bit more conversations and just hold it off. If we could table the agenda item until then, there's no loss as far as I can see. And we just move it forward, just dial it back a little bit, talk about it a little bit more, and move it forward.
Thank you. Anybody else?
So I just want to echo Councilmember Pearl. I think there's an opportunity here for some additional dialogue to understand where we might land best as a city to represent, make sure that we have as an effective group of people around the community and the region as possible to represent the city. And I think some additional time would be warranted before we make a final determination. So I also am in favor of tabling.
Well, I fully respect your input, and if that is what the will of the council is, we can do that. However, it is not true that it will not affect anything. Last year, we were late to regional appointments because at the time, Dan was coming in as mayor, and he was very ill, and we needed to wait for him, and that caused us to be behind. And Lincoln was absent at some of these regional boards where we need to have a voice. If we wait, then we were going to be doing that again. And so it's not true that it doesn't affect anything. It does. They are waiting for our appointments, and we need to show that we are ready and willing to step into these places and serve. Having said that, I'm 1 vote of 5, and if that's what you want to do, then and maybe you can explain to me how we're going to have a conversation if we don't do it here. Because we're not allowed to talk about this in closed session, and we're not allowed to talk about it each other separately. You can talk to one other person outside of this meeting. So maybe you can give some clarity as to how you want to hash this out different from what we already have. And I will also say, I will also say that I've received some comments that the listing was inequitable and that, I have too many appointments, and we've talked through all of that. And so I'm happy to talk about specific ones if you want. I feel like taking further input from all of you We've made several adjustments. I actually even conferred with city attorney on some things, whether there were changes that I could make, and we did that to accommodate certain council members. I'm very happy to do that. When I was mayor the first time, there were boards and commissions that I really wanted, that I had been kind of waiting for 3 years. But we had another council member who had longer term on that, stability, longevity, and the argument was made that he had the continuity. And as mayor, I gave it all back, and I took other ones, the ones that I didn't want, because we have to keep that continuity, that institutional memory, and I was willing to do that then. So this is not Holly being a diva mayor. At that time, I was willing to give it all back. This time, on the ones that you guys are questioning, and we can talk about those now if you want to, I am the institutional knowledge. I am the stability on these, especially the ones, I think, Richard, that you were concerned about. And I'd like to have that conversation if you want to. If you don't, if you want to table it, that's fine. But just because I am the mayor and I'm the senior member doesn't mean that I feel like I can take them all. I'm not. I've done a very good job of parsing them out, giving you all the assignments that are your skill set that you have asked for. I know that not everybody gets everything they want. I'm not getting everything I want, and that's just the way it is. So maybe we can have a conversation about how you want to carry on the conversation that's going to change between now and the first meeting in January. And I'm happy to have that conversation. Very happy to have that conversation.
Well, Mayor,
Yep.
if I may, I was, of course, a little late in some of my requests, and I appreciate the conversation that you and I have had. The thing that I wanted to mention, well, first before, I don't know how or where the conversation would take place, but in support of the mayor's tradition, that I believe that you've been really fair in the way that you've distributed them. Not everybody's getting everything they want. There's still maybe one or two that we could look at, but I would, other than, I don't know how we would proceed as far as conversation goes. If we can't talk about it in closed session, that would be the only.
We're not allowed to.
So whatever else needs to take place, if we table it for another council meeting, only being able to talk one-on-one with certain members after this because of the Brown Act.
All we would be doing is delaying it to have an open meeting conversation in January, which would make us late. But again, like I said, I'll do the will of the council if that's what you want, but understanding that puts us at a disadvantage on regional boards. And I have full confidence in every one of you with what you bring to the council, what you're going to bring to these regional boards, and look forward to how you're going to represent Lincoln in those. And so it's up to you how you want to proceed with this.
I think we have a motion to table it and a second.
I don't think we have a second, yes. We have a motion second, so.
I mean, if there was a second to my motion, I would have moved to adopt the resolution.
I think we probably have to vote on the first motion and second to table it. I know we're missing our.
Okay, so I believe that the first was Richard
And
and
then
the
John
second was
seconded to
John.
table
So
it.
Councilmember Pearl? Yes, would you? do you-
We're voting to table it.
Yeah, so the motion that's on the floor is table, which
Correct.
should be taken first and then
Mhm.
Right.
Then
subsequently.
So
Yeah.
Councilmember Pearl,
Yes, move to table.
Councilmember Reedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Brown,
No.
Councilmember Eklund,
Yes.
and Mayor Andriana.
No. Okay, well, the council has spoken, we will table it. I'm still really open to suggestions of how we're going to discuss this. Oh, yeah, you know what, we forgot to do public comment, I'm sorry, let's do that. Go ahead, I mean, we already voted, but go ahead, I'm sorry, we should have done that before we voted. I'm a little out of practice here. Oops. It's been a few years.
I've never been on this side. I wasn't planning on staying for it, and I wasn't planning on giving public comment, and I love all of the individuals up here. I came because I love Dan, and I loved Paul, and Gwen, I'm gonna miss you. And so wanted to show up for my friends, but I'm And I think I've done a real good job over the last 2 years of staying in my lane and staying out of here and letting everyone up here legislate. But I'm honestly surprised how you guys are handling this item. And I have full faith, honestly, it's a great bench. You guys are gonna do awesome. You guys are gonna represent our city really well. But there are limitations to being new. And there are traditions that the city has because it honestly is in the best interest of the residents. And I've been where you guys are and been frustrated because I wanted, like, beam me up, like, tap me in, coach, right? Particularly for me on my day job side, I had a lot of experience in a lot of the committees I didn't get. And then 2 years later, I understood why I didn't get them and why I was the alternate. Because you can be as competent and capable and enthusiastic and interested and even have professional experience, and you're still not as qualified as the person sitting next to you who's been doing the job, because there's specific dynamics. There's things in closed sessions you can't know about until you're going to. You're going to now. You don't know they exist right now. They are your blind spots. And there are committees that you can jump right into that are of regional consequences and you're ready to go. And then there's committees that are of regional consequences, and if you jump right in, you're not ready. And so I would really encourage you, I know you guys already took a vote outside of public comment, which by the way is also not process.
Yeah, sorry.
And if I were on that side of the bench, I would have given you a hard time and probably passed you a note and pissed her off, which I did a lot. But I really would encourage you to really think about what your motives are for not supporting your mayor tonight, because next year it's going to be a different mayor. And the year after that, it's going to be a different mayor. And as soon as you sit in that seat, which I've sat in, you're going to realize it's really lonely. You're one of 5. You're all equals. But we have an organization here set up with just a few additional responsibilities for that mayor because somebody has to do it. And let me tell you, I could not pass that on fast enough. It is thankless work. Everyone thinks you want the power and you want to be in charge. Trust me, you do not usually want it, but you are the one responsible for it. Every single committee has to get covered, and they have to get covered where all of the projects, and make no mistake, and I'm sure my regional friends might see this and I love them too, but Lincoln is marginalized on most of those committees. We are the last person they want to look to give things to, and you need to know the politics behind it, the policy behind it, and the institutional knowledge and memory behind it. And I'm looking at my friends, and I hope I'm not upsetting you. You don't have it. You don't. And so it may seem inequitable. I looked at the committee things. I think she did a really good job. I think she did a really fair job. I realize I'm not on that side anymore, but I just wanted to give an outside perspective. Like, I stayed for it because I didn't like what I was seeing. So I'd encourage you to maybe think real hard. And congratulations, I'm happy for you.
Thanks, Alyssa. Thank you. I do apologize that we took the vote before public comment. That is the protocol. And so I want to give anybody else an opportunity to do that before we took the vote. We'll move on, but is there anybody else that wanted to make a comment? Yes, Mr. Chapman?
Again, thank you very much. Byron Chapman, 12 Bridges, Mayor, council members, city staff, and those here hanging in with the meeting and watching. I too have been here a few years and have seen some things that I didn't agree with, or I didn't think it was right the way to go. But eventually, I would say the majority of those, really, the experience was already there and I was just kind of catching up. There are certain procedures that if you stay with those, you'll get to a point at some point that you could very well change those positions if that needs to be worked around for whatever that takes place. That may be an option. But right now, you're kind of like at the starting gate. And it's like passing out whatever job duties there are, like a deck of cards. You not necessarily know what it is you're going to get. I know what you want to get, but you don't necessarily get what you want at that beginning in time. So the cohesiveness of this is the place in which to make that work. And it has worked many, 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 many times in this. So for what it's worth, it is one of those things where you're going to get other opportunities down the road, but you're at the starting gate, and maybe that's the first place to start. Thank you.
Mr. Chapman? Right. Last call for anybody. Anybody online, Gwen? No. Okay, all right. Moving on. Item number 12, public hearings. We have none. Item number 13, general business. 13A, adopt resolution 2024-274, approving the reclassification of one financial analyst to the financial analyst 2 level with the finance department, budget division, and the adoption of salary schedule for the revised financial analyst series. And Claire is going to handle this for it. Hi, Claire.
Hi. Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. The item before you today is to reclass the financial analyst position within the finance department's budget division to the newly established financial analyst 2 classification. The proposed reclassification will enhance the budget division's ability to handle growing complexity and workload in essential areas, including grant administration, labor cost allocation, the migration and integration of Tyler Technologies, and budget transparency efforts within the city. This reclassification will also enhance retention efforts by providing opportunities for career growth within the finance department. In addition to the reclassification, we are also requesting the adoption of the associated salary schedule in accordance with CalPERS regulations. And the estimated fiscal impact of this proposed reclassification is $5,800 for the remainder of the 24-25 fiscal year. This concludes my report. I can now answer any questions you may have, and thank you for your time.
Thanks, Claire. Any questions from the council? Okay, any comments from the public?
None online.
Okay, and none online? Okay, if there's no comment, then we'll come back to the council, and I don't have any questions either. Thank you very much for this. It's pretty straightforward, and I will accept a motion.
Move.
Second.
Okay, Gwen?
Yes, thank you. Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Reedy?
Yes.
Councilmember Eklund?
Yes.
Councilmember Pearl? And Mayor Andriana?
Yes. Thank you, Claire. Okay, item number 13B, adopt resolution 2024-275. Authorizes the city manager to execute a side letter agreement extending the current agreement between the Placer Land Trust and the city of Lincoln for the Clover Valley Preservation Project to December 31st, 2025. And Shauna, you can take this one?
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor. And good evening, new council. I asked for this one to be moved on to general business just because I wanted to give everybody opportunity to just know about this project. Usually we put this kind of thing on consent, but it's an important project and it's a significant financial contribution that Lincoln has made towards it. So if you don't know, about a year ago, the city council considered and approved a $1 million contribution from the city's Oak Tree Mitigation Fund to be deposited to the Placer Land Trust in an effort to partner with William Jessup University and Placer County to preserve about 488 acres. The total amount is more than that, but I'll get to it in a minute, of the Clover Valley area. In your staff reports, there's a little infographic that Jessup put together to give you an idea about where that is located geographically. For those that haven't had a chance to look at that, if you're heading down Sierra College Boulevard, it's sort of the area that would be on the west side of Sierra College Boulevard, kind of sandwiched in between sort of the southern portion of Lincoln and the most northern portions of Rockland. And it's a sort of a unique environmental habitat. There are blue oaks and other types of oak species that exist in that valley that have in many cases are many hundreds of years old, in addition to wildlife, and was an area that Native Americans likely lived in some time ago. So William Jessup had an idea for quite some time that that area had been tapped for development, and they took the lead on an effort to try to preserve that area for not only the cultural and biological reasons we mentioned, but also for educational reasons, to give both the university and Western Placer Unified, and I suspect all kinds of educational institutions, the opportunity to study that area and also preserve it for future generations. So the council at that time agreed that that was a totally appropriate use of those funds. And the ancillary benefit that we spoke about at the time, I think is super important, is the preservation of that area creates a buffer between that section of Rockland and Lincoln that I think is really important, because it doesn't happen so much in Placer County, some in South Placer. But if you go to other areas of the state, it's very difficult, for example, if you're in Los Angeles, to know if you're driving from one city to another, because they've grown into each other so much that they've become essentially homogeneous. So not only from a preservation perspective, but also from a land use perspective, we thought it was a good idea. since that time, here's the update. Dr. John Jackson from William Jessup has been the lead on this. He has essentially got to pretty much the finish line on preserving the slopes and valley floor portion of the project. What has not been preserved at this time is the ridges or the fingers of the area around Clover Valley. And that is because that's typically the most valuable real estate, it's the best views, nicest place to live, also most expensive to develop. So therefore, the land cost of that is very different than the heavily wooded area on the slopes and valley floor. And so it's a much more complex negotiation. The financial contributors to this, aside from Jessup, Lincoln, and Placer County, there's a number of other private donors that Dr. Jackson is working on to try to get enough funds together to preserve the entirety. So about 3 or 4 weeks ago, he contacted myself along with the CEO of Placer County and the Land Trust and asked if our board and council might consider a year-long extension to the agreement, which was due to expire at the end of this month, and which would give him and the team a little bit more time to try to work out a deal for those ridge areas so that they could have a complete project. It may be that that doesn't work out. But from staff's perspective, we think it's such an important preservation project that it's worth giving the additional time. I like, where possible, to give you an alternative. So if you were of a mind that says, geez, I think kind of it's been a year, we'd really rather claw back those funds. Those funds would basically go right back into our oak tree mitigation account, and we would go searching for other preservable habitat. And I'll just be honest, that of this level of quality and significance, it doesn't really exist in Lincoln proper currently. And so I think we'd struggle to find a way to get a project of this magnitude funded just on our own. That said, we can come up with all kinds of ideas of how we can use $1 million in oak tree mitigation. I just don't know that the value will be representative of what you have here today. So our recommendation is to give them 1 more year, and we'll report back in 6 months if there's anything going on that's not going to work. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks. All right, questions from the council?
Yeah, how are those negotiations coming? And how is the rest of the funding going for the project?
Well, we came in with our 1 million. Placer County came in with $1 million as well. There's been, I don't know the exact dollar figure off my head, but Jessup University itself has committed quite a bit of money, I think in excess of what we put in towards the project. And although I'm not in the negotiations myself, my understanding is that there's ongoing discussions with the property owners and developers that own the ridges, and private donors and interested parties are considering contributing towards the purchase.
I really hope that they're successful at that, because I agree with staff that that this is a very significant area to preserve, and that William Jessup can do a really good job with that and using it for educational. So I'm absolutely in favor.
It's a forever decision. I mean, once it's preserved forever.
Mhm. Anybody else?
I agree with both of you. I think that it's really important that we preserve the special area, and I'm definitely in favor of protecting it. It's a gem. And I agree, Jessup is a wonderful, responsible organization. I would trust in that effort.
Anybody from the public like to comment on this item? Anybody online? Okay, yeah, I'm very much in favor of giving them another year. I know that Dr. Jackson has been working really hard to secure the funding and takes it very seriously. And I think this is something that really needs to be done, and it would be a shame for this project not to be successful. So I'm in favor. So I'm ready for a motion. Did you say something? I'm sorry.
I was going to do both.
Yeah.
I was going to, one, say I support the extension and move to adopt.
Great, thank you. In a second?
Second.
Okay, so I think Ben beat you. Richard, go ahead, Gwen.
Thank you. Councilmember Reedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Pearl,
Yes.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Eklund,
Yes.
and Mayor Andriana.
Yes. All right, thank you, Sean. All right, item 13C. Adopt Resolution 2024-276, creating CIP 685 11th Street Storm Drain Repair, approving the plans and technical specifications for CIP 685 11th Street Storm Drain. repair and authorizing the city manager to execute a contract for construction with LaFleur Engineering in the amount of $998,619 for CIP 685 11th Street Stream Door repair and not Vin. Are you going to lead us in, Vin?
Yes, welcome and congrats to the new council members and Mayor Andrietta. Let me introduce Jacob Grosser, Associate Engineer. He's going to give us a brief little presentation about the project.
Associate Engineer. So I put together, is the slideshow showing up or how do I get it? Oh, there it is. Okay. First time up here, so. Yeah, quick presentation regarding the use of about $1.2 million of, I think it's the remaining ARPA funds. We're going to put it towards a storm drain repair project. So just kind of a high level, transparent discussion of what the project is and why it's beneficial. So the overall purpose of the project is to replace about a little less than 1,000 feet of storm drain on East 11th Street. And it's, again, the purpose of it is to find a place for that remaining $1.2 million of ARPA funds. So we were able to pretty effectively capture all of the money and put it towards this project. This is just kind of a brief overview of the project area. So it's going to run between East Avenue and Harrison Avenue. One of the challenges, I think, in scoping construction projects is you don't necessarily know what the total cost is going to be until you open the bids. So the way we try to capture as much, most effectively use the money is by preparing a base bid, which is shown in the red box there. That portion of the project, we were pretty confident we could fit within $1 million. Then we also prepared an optional or alternative bid. That's the portion shown in the yellow. So just in case pricing came back favorably, we'd be able to stretch the dollars a little bit further. On the next slide, I'll show a few other pictures, but there's also a red star there. That's going to be a location of some pretty significant soil intrusion into the system. There'll be a picture later, but that's just a location of where that's going to be. So I think last year, 2023, there was actually an emergency repair done here. Again, for the same reason, there's holes in the storm drain system, soil intrusion, creates voids underneath the street, which then leads to sinkholes eventually. So this was only about maybe 100 linear feet or so that was repaired under an emergency contract. So that's a little bit of background there. That's why earlier this year in January, we performed a camera inspection of the system to just get a better look at the rest of it and see how the rest of it's doing. So here's one picture from the video recordings. And you can see on the side of the storm drain there's a pretty significant amount of soil intruding into the pipe. And ultimately, that will lead to voids under the street and, again, more sinkholes in the future. So that's one of the reasons why we chose this storm drain system for repairs, that it's, needs to be done sooner rather than later. Quick breakdown of how the bids came out and the overall fiscal impact. So fairly competitive bid. I think we had 9 contractors show up. LaFleur Engineering submitted the lowest base bid. They're just under $800,000. Again, that was for the base bid. So for the alternative bid, Alt 1, in total, combining that with the base bid, they're just under $1 million. So that leaves us with plenty of money for a contingency in case we find something strange underground, or also plenty of money for construction management and inspection throughout the project as well. So overall, we were able to pretty effectively use the $1.2 million. It fits nicely within the project limits. Yeah, happy to take questions if you have them, but besides that, it's fairly straightforward. So
Great, thank you. I do have a question, but we'll go to the council first.
Mayor, before you do, can I just add one quick thing? The reason why we also might have put this on, just on this type of a meeting, we might have put this on consent as well. The reason why I asked it be placed on general is I wanted to just highlight, I think it's in your report, that the reason that this is such an important thing to get awarded at this very last meeting of the year is we want to obligate these dollars because they are the ARPA dollars. And we've received a lot of questions, or I've at least received a lot of questions about, well, geez, why didn't you do this water project or that street project or this park project with that? money. And the previous council's philosophy about ARPA was to spend it on things we otherwise couldn't afford. And storm is actually a very interesting one because we don't collect a storm drain fee here in Lincoln. To the extent we do storm repairs, if they're connected to some street system that can't operate without, we can use some street dollars, although that's not very efficient use of the money. Mostly it's a general fund expense, and it's a hard one to pay for out of your general fund. So this was a really good opportunity to fix a serious problem that would have otherwise come out of your public safety and other funds.
Thank you, Sean. Okay, any questions?
Oh, I just wanted to clarify. So you, based on the bids, you can do the red and the yellow?
Yeah, we're doing both. Yep. Yeah.
I was gonna say too, that 100 feet, because it was an emergency repair, wasn't it like 200 and something $1,000 just for the 100 feet? And
Yeah, it was expensive.
and if
yeah.
we take these dollars proactively, we were doing 11,000 feet, is that right?
No, just under 1,000.
Just under 1,000?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
A lot more.
still,
Yeah.
I mean, $1 million, that doesn't go very far.
No.
No. Yeah.
Yes?
Just an observation that this is one of those expenses that people never think about and until you actually need to do it. And we're fortunate that we had the ARPA funds available to do it. Because as the city manager said, if these things, when they're required, they are required. And it would come out potentially out of our general fund, impacting everything that we have in our general fund. So it certainly is a worthwhile expense in which we had more money to do more of them, without a doubt.
If I could add, Mayor, just a quick clarification on the resolution that we're actually asking for your approval for a budget augmentation in the amount of $1.243,000, $406 from the unencumbered funds of the ARPA remaining dollars, and also the approval of the plans and specifications to execute a contract with LaFleur Engineering in the amount of $998,619, and authorize the city engineer to approve change orders up to $144,787.
Okay. Appreciate that. Anybody else?
Can I move that? I don't know what she said, but there's a
Mayor,
lot
we,
there.
Public comment?
sorry, we did
Yeah.
have,
Yeah, hold on a second. Let's do public comment. Does anybody have a comment on this or a question?
we do have a hand raised
Okay,
on.
go ahead.
Fran, please go ahead.
Is that the Jacob who's the engineer who designed the cardboard box place over by the library?
Yep, same one.
Well, that is really exciting. That is going forth. I'm surprised at how big it is. Have you all seen it? It's really great. So I would just want to say thank you, Jacob.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's going well.
You're a hero. It's good. Any other comments? Okay, I have a question though. I'm fully in favor of this and I'm grateful we have the dollars to do it because it needs to be done. A few years ago, those streets off of East Avenue, and 11th, I think is one of them, correct me if I'm wrong, they were rebuilt and repaved and they're really nice. Is 11th one of those?
No.
It's not, okay.
Nope.
So do we have the ability, once the storm drain is fixed and we tear all that up, to pave that nicely so it's one of the nice streets over there?
Yeah, so part of the project is actually repaving
Great.
resurfacing that street. So it'll look brand new. Yeah.
Great, thank
With
you.
with sidewalks too?
The sidewalks, yeah, we'll see.
All
Yeah.
right, all right.
Oh, yeah, okay, thank you. All right, if there's no other comments or questions,
Well, being that it's in my district, can I move to
yes, you
adopt it?
can.
Well, I move to adopt resolution 2024-276.
Second.
Okay.
Thank
Moving
you.
second.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Reedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Eklund,
Yes.
Councilmember Pearl,
Yes.
and Mayor Andriotta.
Yes, thanks, appreciate you.
Thanks, Jacob.
All right, we are on to item 14, city manager reports.
Thank you, and welcome, new council, new mayor, new council. Council members Reedy, Eklund, and Pearl, I've known all of you for a while now, and so it's nice to see you finally up on the dais. I don't have much to share except for to thank, is he still here? Is Tom? Left. To thank the Chamber of Commerce. They did a really good job at two really cool events this year. We did something a little different. Tom did something a little different this year where we split the tree lighting and parade into separate events, which I'll have to circle back with them, but I think actually worked out much better because, being a father of small kids, they'll sit through some of a parade, but they're definitely not going to hang for an hour and a half for a tree lighting. They'd be pretty cranky by this point. So as far as I could tell, it went really well. I wanted to send a big thank you to Scott Boynton and Matt's entire Public Works crew. They were out all, basically the last, 72 hours and change. In the cold, early in the morning, making sure that everything was set up. The event went really well, and look forward to doing a lot more next year. The only other thing I'd like to add is that I hope everybody has a very happy holidays and Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and whatever other holidays you may celebrate during that time. And if you need anything, we will be here for the duration. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Hey, does anybody have any questions for city manager report? Okay.
Oh, Mayor, one last thing. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I wanted to just point out, I didn't get a chance to share it. I'm not going to do any more speeches about Gwen because I've done 3 or 4 of them in just the last few days for her. But going to miss her very much. I did want to just point out, as you saw earlier, we swore in hope. We're super grateful she's come to us, and she is, on her own accord, a very experienced city clerk that we hope will serve Lincoln for a long time. So just wanted to introduce her publicly.
We're glad to have you. Thank you. Yes. Okay, item 15, council initiated business. Does any council member have any business they would like to introduce? Okay.
So mine and I talked to the manager earlier, is if there's consensus around the council on seeing fiscal analysis come through with specific plans and specific plan amendments, what that looks like, how that happens administratively, cost-wise, et cetera, to see if that might help in looking at how specific plans impact our general fund and being clear about whether those are negative or positive and being able to analyze it. So that's something I'd like to see us look at and see if there's consensus around making that change in the future.
Talking about fiscal analysis of development projects?
Specific plans, more broadly. Other communities in the state and in the region have fiscal analysis accompany those specific plans to understand, are the CFDs for public safety covering? Are there shortfalls, the mix of commercial and residential, and how all that affects the general fund? So we have an idea when we see a specific plan, what that may or may not look like to the city's finances.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. If that's not too much extra work for staff, I guess I would, you already spoke with them about like time impact and what that looks like if that's
I think the next
big
step is for
haul,
them
or-
to, and Sean can speak to this because I don't want to put words in his mouth, but basically I think the next step is for them to come back and tell us what it would look like to do what I'm suggesting, and then we can
Okay.
decide whether we want to move forward or not.
Okay.
Based on those.
Yeah, it's we do what I'm gonna have to get used to this. I've almost called you John, Councilmember Reedy. Is so what we do already is we do kind of what we kind of view as a micro fiscal analysis, which really informs how we set the rate of the public safety CFD. So it's a complex kind of mathematical equation of size of place, likely population, likely service demand, and then we back into kind of what we think the shortfall is that we'll need to collect from those folks. But what Councilmember Reedy is talking about is a more broad sort of area-wide study. So say, for example, when Village 1 came in, that's a specific plan, right? That would have, under this scenario, would be studied in its entirety. So you don't just do it project to project like we're doing now. You also do in the very beginning an entire one that gives a really good idea about how it's likely to build out based on the land uses that exist as they're proposed, not as they may be changed in the future, and what the gap is or not gap. So for example, some projects that are mainly residential, there will be a gap. Projects that are heavier on commercial may actually show a surplus in revenue. And it's just data we don't really know because all we're doing right now is dealing a project by project basis within each one of those specific plan areas. So it's a good practice. It'll give future councils and planning commissions a little bit better view of what this might look like down the road if it all builds the way we think it does. And it's not administratively, well, we're going to look into it, make sure we know all how it's done, but administratively, and even from a cost perspective, is in my opinion, not significant enough for us not to do it, because it just gives you more data and info.
Okay, well, I think.
I'll be back.
I think you have consensus to look at it.
Great.
Great, awesome. Does anybody else have any initiated business? Okay, I do have one. I know that eventually, and I suspect, Sean, that we will look at this when we do a strategic retreat for this new council on, we need to come up with a code for how the council just in general rotates now that we're in districts, and Paul and Dan we've completed the old way, and we need to, just for moving forward in the years, we need to know how to do that. But for this moment, we need to make sure that we have a mayor pro tem, and right now, that would be Councilmember Ben Brown. And so I would like to, I know we can't do it right now, but I would like to put that on the agenda for next time to codify that. The council has already set the policy that you have to be on council for 2 years before you are seated in one of those leadership positions. And so it would be Ben. And so I would like to see that just put into place next meeting and make sure that that's done officially. And so if we have consensus on the council to do that, then, okay,
You got it.
great, thank you. Right. I don't imagine we have a lot of committee reports.
A little bit of one.
Well, I mean, other than, yeah, go ahead. I don't, because I have meetings coming up this week, so I haven't had one in a while, but go ahead.
So I attended the Sheridan MAC
Okay.
and found out that they are having a little bit of a similar situation that we have with TGI.
Mm.
However, the difference is it's a much smaller case. And it looks like they're actually doing an outreach that they were not required to do. But it was interesting to find how interested they were on what was going on with that, and wanting to make sure that they had the honesty and putting forth everything, all the information, so that it puts the residents there at ease.
Okay.
So it was a big deal at the last meeting. So.
Good. All right. Thanks for telling us that. Okay. Information items. Does anybody have any information? So there's a difference between business and just something you want to share? No? Okay. I don't either. Although I would agree with Sean that the parade was amazing. I don't know. I know Richard knows this. I don't know if John and Whitney know this story, but last year, for Christmas, I said, hey, look, we ride the fire trucks both times a year, and let's save that for a 4th of July if that's what we want to do. But let's build a float and do a float for Christmas because I think it'll be fun and different, do the lights and all that. And so Sean and I jerry-rigged a float. And it did, and Ben brought his music, and it was a lot of fun, but the Public Works and the fire guys said, you guys embarrassed us. And so you can't embarrass yourselves like that. So we're gonna build it for you. And they did, and it was, if you saw it, it was amazing. And then they did, and we had snow. And I'll tell you what, my husband can attest, because we were all there throwing candy and stuff, that the kids didn't even care about the candy. They were so enthralled with the snow. It was amazing, and I'm just so grateful to them. And so I told Scott, okay, every year, man, it's on you. And so it was a great start to a new tradition, and it was a lot of fun.
And I think the snow is actually just soap bubbles, so we kind of clean the streets a little too.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
We were covered by the end of the night, but that was okay. It
And we
was-
always
it was
run out
fun.
of candy before we get to the end of the parade, so maybe we don't need candy next
No,
year.
we have to have candy, yeah.
We should just double it, right? Because I have big hands.
Okay, any more information items? Nope. No? Okay, well then,
One quick thing.
Yep.
I needed a chance to say thank you, Gwen.
awesome, very good. Okay, then we're adjourned. Thank you, staff. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Welcome, new council.